Hello, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'm going to take Miss Oyuki's for a walk, and I'm going to tell you guys about when I catfish two guys. Oh my gosh. I have to let all my shames out. So there it is. You guys get to know what I did, how I played. Yeah. You know, play you won't play ya kind of thing. So the scene, okay? I'm gonna take you guys to the scene. The scene is 1998 to 2001. I can't tell you which year, but it was during that time. I can't tell you which year it was. If it was 1998 or if it was... I appreciate it. Hi Mark, how are you, dear?
How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. Or if it was 99 or 2000 or 2001. It was somewhere in there, right? So I used to... first of all, it was like the beginning of AOL and huge compact computers. You remember those huge compact computers with a tower, with a monitor with the back? And man, I used to love to log in and you got mail, and it wasn't a lot of junk mail back then. So if that thing said you got mail, you had some good mail. You had real mail, because spam and everybody doing business in the internet was not a thing, right? So I keep looking down because Miss Oyuki's has to do, and I have to pick it up, even though my neighbors don't always pick up after their dogs. Anywho, so I used to love logging in, and back in the day, if you're a millennial or whatever generation, I don't even know what I am, honey, whatever you are, right, that you're not as old as I am, you used to log in to the system and it would say you got mail. So it was great. And then it had like chat rooms, and these chat rooms were all kind of different chat rooms, like dog lovers, cat lovers, I don't know, AOL singles, Tampa singles, hottie toddies, I don't know. It was all kinds of different names that people would give, the chat rooms. So in this one of these chat rooms, I met two guys. One, we're going to name him, let me see, because if I give out the names, people might know. Well, one, we're going to name Eric, because I don't know what happened to him. He's not on my social media, so that was his name, Eric, and God knows what happened to Eric. And the other guy, let's name him Raymond. Let's say Raymond, right? So the other guy was Raymond. So I would chat with them, and I didn't really want to put myself out there, with pictures. And so I went through a Shape magazine, because I used to have the subscription of Shape, and I cut out a picture of the most beautiful girl. I mean, I have the little cutout picture still. I'll put it at the end of the video in a picture. And I cut out another picture of another girl that wasn't even her, but somehow they had a lot of resemblance. But it took me a while to go through different magazines to find that second picture, so I had two pictures. So so I met these dudes, and we would talk, and they only had those two pictures of me. I mean, they were pretty smart dudes, but they never asked for any more pictures, so I never had to produce anything else, And so, I gotta take care of Yuki's business. Hang on tight. So, I forgot where I was, because I had to be a I had to pick up Oyuki's business. So you know, so this dude, you know, they were pretty smart dudes. I think that's what I was saying. I don't know. And so they never asked for another picture. So we would talk and we would talk, and you know, I've had a really cool office job, and I had a corner with a cubicle. Oh no, with a cubicle facing the window, and you know, coffee in the morning with Bailey's in it. And you know, I was like their top person there, like their best sales agent, and they would listen into my calls to train the others. And you know, I made everybody happy. I mean, I was just happy go lucky, you know. So it was great to work there. So Eric was older, and he was nice, and he would run. And then I told Eric the biggest like lie ever. I told Eric that I ran 10 miles every day. Okay, I mean, I do a 5K here and there, and I don't get, you know, below like 35 minutes on a 5K. So 10 miles a day, imagine that. The most that I've done is like 3.5 miles a day, and I was like in prime, you know, shape back when I was doing that. And so, you know, he was so thoughtful. He was from Miami and had like 9 brothers, and was really into talking about his mother and his brothers, and had moved like out west somewhere. God knows where out west that was. And you know, would send like fruit, would send me like fruit arrangements and CDs, and would mail me stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like this guy was, you know, you could want to keep this guy, because who doesn't want a guy? He was funny and nice and great. So that was Eric. But then the other one lived with his mom, and he looked so handsome in the pictures, you know, and was younger than me or my age. I don't even remember, you know, so much about him, other than that he was super funny. And then we would be on the phone all the time, and like sexy phone talk, and just, you know, like he was, you know, you're young, and the poor thing lived with his mom. And I had a crazy cat that would go and eat, and he had cats and birds, I think. And he understood my cat situation with my crazy cat. And at that time, I was in a relationship with that horrible man that I tell you guys about. But that horrible man had left back to New York. You know, he would leave and leave me abandoned. And so, like, these guys would, you know, they were the people that I would talk to, because he was like posted up there with his boys, you know. Rest in peace, right? So yeah, so, you know, so it was like, it was lovely. Okay, I would be like, I had an emotional affair, you know, with both of them. While the guy had left to New York, you know what? I cheated on him with one of them. It's the only time I have ever cheated. And it wasn't even cheating, because he had done left. And God knows what he did, because he wasn't like the most loyal man. He was just, you know, a hood rat. That's what he was. And so, you know, so Eric, I came clean with Eric, you know, because I liked them so much. And he was looking like for like somebody like the girl in the picture. However, he didn't look you know, like the type of guy that could get like the girl in the picture. But he was like an engineer, so he had money, so whatever. So he was smart, and intellect is like my #1 thing that I like about men. And so, you know, I came clean, and then we stayed friends, and he ended up like, you know, dating this girl from Texas. She was a Mexican, and she had 2 burritos, or 2 kids. I was like, you girl with her 2 burritos. And he didn't have any kids, and he wasn't into people with kids from what we spoke about. But I guess this girl was great enough to take on the 2 kids, and good for Eric, right? And so the other dude, I stayed talking to him. He was so funny, but he was a kid, you know. And it doesn't look like he's broke anymore, you know, but he was like a broke kid, but he was so sweet. He would send me like little graphics, like he sent like this teddy bear with my name on it, and it was my my screensaver on the computer. And then he sent me a teddy bear for Christmas. He would send me like little packets, you know, and he had my home address, so that one was scary because Eric only had my office address. Eric was more sophisticated, you know, and this kid, you know, had my home address, so he would send me stuff. So then the kid is like, you know, I'm coming to Miami. And you know how people from up north come to Miami with all of their other hood rats, you know, with them. Not that this guy Raymond is a hood rat. Far from it. I really like him as, you know, like as a person. And so, you know, he came with all these other hood rats, and my dude, the horrible. I don't even know why I stayed with that guy that long. Looking back, when you don't know any better, you just don't know any better. And sometimes dudes beat you down and tell you lies about you because they're like so below you that they got to convince you that you know that you're there with them. And so, you know, I don't know why I left him, but anyways, the dude had to come back. Oh my God. And then like every time he came back, I couldn't get rid of him. You know, it was like the never-ending story that you couldn't get rid of this dude, you know. And it was like, oh, so he came back, and I was in my apartment, and it was a studio. It was the cutest studio, and I'll find a picture and I'll put it in this video too, so you guys can see how cute this studio was, where I had my compact computer. And so this dude is like, you know, I'm coming to Miami, and you know what, I really liked him. And it was conflicting because I really liked this dude, but then I had a dude that I loved. I just loved him so much. Delusional, crazy, whatever that was, right? And so, you know, I get ready, and I had gone to work, and it was so much like, how do I do this? Because I'm not a cheater. I never cheated before. I never cheated after. I should have cheated on him. Because let me tell you, this online guy, this online little guy was a brokey that lived with his mom, and he just had great personality, and that's why I liked him. But back in the day, you know, like at my office, like all the big wigs wanted to, like, you know, bag it up. You know, they were like into it, and everywhere I went, you know. And so anywho, so I don't know what to do because I have this hood rat in my house now, you know, that came back. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to say I have a work function, because I knew this dude was coming like days in advance, right? So I was like for a few days, I'm like, oh, we have a work function in Miami. And, you know, we had 2 cars, a CRX, which I drove, and a Mazda 626, a really nice Mazda 626 that he drove most of the time. So, you know, I'm like, and I wanted to come out there fronting, you know, I was like, I wanted to come out there fronting to meet the AOL dude, Raymond. And so I came, you know, to Miami, and I really have always disliked driving to Miami. So it was like, oh my God, you know, like, ugh, going to Miami. But, you know, so he tells me where he's going to be at. I don't even remember. It was, and he was at like where all like the hood rats go, like a hood rat hotel, like a hood rat location. You know, it's not, you know, not what I was accustomed to, or, you know, going to. But you know what, you know, they're from New York. You know, you know how it is. They, you know, I mean, the dude was not at all like the dude. Very smart, very funny, but you know, like when they're in little groups, you know, their little New York stench comes out. You know how they act. And so like I roll up, right? And like, of course he has shown all these dudes, like all these dudes, the 2 fake pictures. So he comes up into the car, and I have my sunroof down, and he comes up, and like this one handsome, the friend that came up, like the one Hispanic friend that came up was a lot, like he was the most handsome out of all of them, because, you know, they were all like 3s or 4s. They were not handsome, you know, and the way they talk, it was just like so trashy. And so, wait, let me cross the street and not get ran over. You know how people be getting ran over with selfie sticks, right? That ain't gonna be me, honey. I'm watching. So they pull up to my window, and you know, I'm not the girl in the freaking picture. I catfished the dude. So then he's like, he don't care. That dude wanted it to get some ass, you know, no matter what, no matter if I had catfish, and plus I'm pretty, you know, like what, you know, I'm not the girl from the picture, you know, I'm not the girl from the picture, but I'm hot. So, you know, he jumps in my car, and we go to where they were staying, which was, like I said, it was, I don't even remember, this is how bad it was. I don't even remember. It was one of those, I don't know, it's like a hotel without a bell service, you know, something like that. So, you know, like, so we go, and I couldn't get into the dude so much, okay? And don't start yapping your mouth, Raymond, because, you know, I felt so guilty, you know, that, you know, peer pressure. Somebody was throwing a desk, and sometimes I pick up furniture, okay? Like cute furniture. I don't have any furniture that I picked up where I live now, but there was a time in my life, like 2003 to 2007, I would pick up furniture and like start sanding it and painting it. And then my mom and I would go to the flea market and sell it on Saturdays and Sunday. But anyhow, so we went to the place, and there was no sparks. I mean, when we would talk on the phone, it was like sparks, and my heart would melt, and I really liked him. I mean, but when I'm there with him, you know, there was no sparks. And then, to be honest, the guy that was horrible was, you know, a tall man. He was a mulatto. He didn't like to be called a black boy. I used to call him black boy, because he's one of those Spanish people that they don't want to be black, but his dad was like color purple black, and his mom was like Indian, like very native like me. But he was, you know, he was not a small man, and that's the guy that I was accustomed to, you know. And so, like, when this guy comes from New York, there's no passion in the kissing, and there's no sparks. We had sparks on the phone, okay? There was no cameras back then, and I used to have like a sidekick telephone. I don't know if you guys remember that, a sidekick from it wasn't T-Mobile, Voice Stream. I think it was I don't remember, or maybe it was T-Mobile, I don't remember. So, you know, I had a sidekick, and I used to like text and, you know, talk to him and all of that, and there was no sparks. And we made out. I mean, he didn't get it, and then you know, we fooled around, but, you know, he got his, I didn't get mine. I you know, I don't know, it wasn't there. It just, it wasn't there. And, you know, I was accustomed to someone so different, you know, 6'1", big dude, right? And so, anywho, I left. Like, it took like 10 minutes, and, you know, in there, and, you know, making out session that didn't work out that well, and whatever. And so that's what happens, you know. And not too long ago, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he sent me a message, because we stay friends on social media, as you know, MySpace and then Facebook and whatever has evolved. And I follow him, and I see his stories, and he seems happy, and he's great. But, you know, he probably has recordings of our phone time, our sexy phone time, because he was into like making music, and you know, like all of those New York hood rats were into making music with him. And I think he had like a brother in jail, a criminal in jail that was into music. And I think one day he made a rap song and like they put my name in it, and I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm gonna get caught with this business here of, you know, AOL affairs. And so anyhow, we stayed friends. Lovely person, like him very much. Looks very happy from the online content he shares. He was a pro, he was hardworking. I loved the fact that he was like, loved his mom and would, you know, talk to his mom, and she would always be like cooking for him and stuff like that. And so yeah, that's what I did. Hey, how are you, dear? So yeah, that's what I did, you know. But it was before like catfish was a thing. So a few years back, right, he's like, oh my God, you catfish me. And I was cracking up, you know, because I can hear him laughing, because we used to laugh about just random stupid crap on the phone. He's funny. And I was like, yeah, I catfish him before catfish was a thing. I mean, if it would have happened during the show, he probably would have called the show, you know, because it took us like a whole bunch of time to meet. Like, I had an emotional online affair, on the phone affair with him for years. And at that time, the phone, like, it used to be like you paid 10 cents a minute. It wasn't like that anymore. Like, if you just had Southern Bell and like you had the fee to pay for, you know, like for long distance, you could talk as much as you wanted on long distance. And so I guess I had that service, and you know, I would be on long distance call with this dude forever. And then sometimes, you know, the other dude would call, and I would not Eric, the horrible dude would call, and then I would, you know, be like, hold on, and click over, and the horrible dude would just call in to check in random stupidity. So I would be like, hey, blah 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 blah, and then click over and be back to Raymond. You know, I'm going to put you guys, oh God, Palm Beach County Emergency Services. They call you every time someone is missing, but they text you also. So, and they don't stop calling you until you answer, and then they're like, did you get this phone call? And you have to say yes. So anywho, that's what happened. So yeah, before catfish was a thing, I'm the original catfisher, baby. Okay, so yeah. So anyways, thank you for watching, and subscribe, follow, like, and thank you. Bye. So I had to end the video quickly like that because there was this older couple with a little dog, and a gypsy lady with 2 kids and, you know, a stroller, and they got in the way of me finishing my video properly. Anywho, I hope you guys like this story. It's off the chain, 2 chains, honey. And Raymond, don't run your yap, Raymond. All right. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.